In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all the seeds I'll be starting in March to get ready for a bountiful garden season. March is a perfect time to get things started indoors. I've got a variety of exciting plants on my list, including some of my favorites and also a few new ones that I am eager to try this year. If you're looking for inspiration for your garden or just want to see what's growing in mine, stay tuned. Today is March 14, and that means for us here in Michigan, Zone 6A, we have about 7 weeks before our last frost date. And there are many plants that can be started right now. Some plants like celery, eggplants, onions, and peppers can still be started now. It is not too late. You're just going to have a little bit of a later harvest for those. Many people have already started them in mid-February or even earlier than that. But it's not too late if you decide to start them now. Other vegetables that can be started right now are broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, lettuce, and kale. I've actually already started those about 3 or 4 weeks ago already, and I have a video where I showed you how to do that. And they are actually growing beautifully. And I started them a little bit earlier because I don't have a lot of space in my seed rack in my basement, and I will be transplanting those outside in just a few weeks when these other plants need more space in my seed rack. Right now is a perfect time to start tomatoes. You can start them between 6 to 8 weeks before your frost date. And even though my frost date is May 4, here in Zone 6A, there are so many people that don't transplant their seedlings until Mother's Day or even Memorial Day weekend, because sometimes in May we have a late hard frost. So that is why I say it is not too late for crops like peppers or celery, or ones that even require up to 10 weeks before your last frost date, because it just depends when you want to transplant them outside. But today I'm going to be starting tomatoes. These are the varieties that I have, and I'm really excited about these. I have Rosella, red centiflora, orange currant tomato. I'm going to try this Dad's Sunset, and pink bumblebee. All of these are indeterminate tomatoes, and I'm going to be growing them up a trellis and pruning them as they grow. I decided that I want 6 plants of each variety. That's going to give me 30 tomato plants. And that is a manageable amount. I think last year we had over 100 tomato seedlings alone, and that was kind of overwhelming. And we ended up giving a lot of them away. We didn't even have enough space in our garden for those. So because I'm only doing 6, I will be planting 2 seeds in each cell. And once they get bigger, I will be separating them and transplanting them to a bigger pot. Now, in terms of herbs that can be planted right now in mid-March, there are so many options. You can plant basil, chamomile. We are not going to be planting chamomile because chamomile just grows in our garden every year because we planted it a few years ago. And as a matter of fact, right now I have some chamomile growing in the bed where I want to be growing onions. So what I'll be doing in the next few weeks is I'll be digging up those chamomile plants from that bed, and I'll be transplanting them in a more ideal place. So I love that I don't have to plant chamomile anymore, because it's just one less thing that I have to do. You can also start oregano at this time of the year. I'm also not starting oregano because I have oregano in one of my beds that I planted a couple years ago, and last year it came back on its own and it did wonderfully. So I hope that's the case again this year, because I will not be starting oregano from seed this year. Thyme is also a good seed to start this time of the year. And again, I did this a few years ago, and now I don't have to do it again because I have some growing in my bed from last year as well. If you like chives, that is the perfect time of the year to grow chives, and also dill. I will not be growing dill. I will probably have dill growing in random places like I did last year, and it's not something we truly enjoy. So if it comes up, great. If it doesn't, we'll be fine. But the ones that I will be starting today are cilantro. So I have cilantro here with me. I also have basil. something that we must have every year. We just love so much. And then I will also be starting parsley. Those are the herbs that can be started now that we are in mid-March. Parsley seeds are really tiny, just like carrot seeds. So what I'm going to be doing is just sprinkling a whole bunch, I don't even know how many, into each cell. And I have 3 cells over here that are going to be full of parsley seeds. Now, parsley seeds are not supposed to be covered by soil. And I always struggle with that because when I do that, sometimes they just get dry and they don't germinate. So I am kind of covering them. Maybe some of them are not covered all the way. And I just have to be really careful and make sure I am or spraying them often until they start germinating. I will be separating these once they germinate and transplanting them into their own little cell, just like I did with my other seedlings. So that is my parsley right there. Because we love basil and we want a lot of it, I am going to be putting 4 seeds, or maybe even more, in each of these cells. So that's going to give me at least 24 basil plants. And I think that will be perfect for us. Again, I am going to be separating these once the seedlings start coming up. I will be able to separate them into their own individual cell. These seeds are a few years old, so I am not feeling bad about putting a lot of seeds because I really don't know how they are going to germinate. I am going to be putting 2 cilantro seeds in each cell. These are the slow bolt variety from M.I. Gardner, and these are perfect to be starting right now because they are actually plants that like the cool weather. They do take quite a long time to germinate, so it is a perfect time to start them now. They can take up to 2 weeks just to germinate. And then once they start emerging and they have a couple true leaves, I am going to separate them into their own individual cells until they grow and are ready to be transplanted outside. Cilantro is something that I need to continually sow throughout the season. So right now I'm only hoping to get 12 plants out of this. In a month or so, I'm going to start more seeds. So once these start dying out, I'll be able to have some fresh cilantro. And I'm going to do that all throughout the season until the fall so that we can have fresh cilantro the entire season. There are so many flowers that could be started right now. For example, marigold and zinnias, they can be started indoors. But I'm actually not going to start them today. I have grown these in the past, and I know that zinnias are relatively easy to grow once you just sow them in the ground or in a pot in their direct spot outside. The seeds are pretty large, so it's pretty easy to do, and I will be doing that again this year. In the past, I've planted marigold indoors, but I've also direct sowed, and I think I'm going to do the same thing with this. They grow very well on their own without having to do seed starts, and I'm going to do that again this year because, like I said, I don't have a lot of space to do all that. But just so you know, those are some flowers that can be started right now if that's what you choose to do. Other flowers that can be planted right now in March and started indoors are petunias and geraniums and impatiens. I am not growing those plants this year, but these are the ones that I am growing this year, and I'm trying these. I am so excited for these, and I will be starting them indoors for several reasons. One of the flowers I'll be starting right now in March are straw flowers. I have never grown straw flowers before. And when it's something that I've never grown before and I don't know exactly how finicky it's going to be, I rather grow it indoors so I can pay more attention to it and make sure I'm watering consistently and it has consistent temperature, and I like to do it that way. Straw flowers, the seeds for straw flowers are so tiny that I want to make sure I don't cover them with too much soil and that they are also damp enough to be able to germinate. And if I were to do that outside, I would probably forget to water them, or the rain could wash them out. So I would just rather do this at home since it's my first time. I am also going to be doing the same thing for cosmos. These apricot lemonade, they are just so beautiful and I'm so excited for them. Again, I haven't grown these before, so because I'm trying them out, I want to do them in seed trays. Same thing with poppy and calendula. These are the poppy seeds. I don't know if you can see, it looks like sand. So that is why the directions say to surface sow. So I'm just going to sprinkle them on top. I am sprinkling a lot of these and I am putting it in a 4-inch pot because the ones that germinate, I will be pricking out and putting them in their own individual cell. I realize that that sometimes can be a lot more work, but I actually love doing it that way. And since I've never grown this plant before, sprinkling them like this will ensure that at least some of them germinate. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add just a little bit more to make sure that I have some of these seedlings that germinate. Straw flower seeds are also very, very tiny, and these are supposed to also be surface sown. This is all that was in the seed packet. It's not a whole lot. So I'm just going to put all of them in here. Hopefully some of these germinate. I am really playing around with flowers this year. I haven't grown a lot of these flowers before, but one of my goals is to have more beautiful flowers in my garden just for fun and just to bring beauty to my garden. So I want to do that. Now, even though it says for them to be surface sown, I am going to cover them just a little bit. There are so many seeds that are said to be surface sown, like for example carrots, but I always cover them a little bit and they work well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do the same thing with the poppy. Hopefully I'm not ruining this, but I will put just a little bit of soil on top. These are the calendula seeds and they are so funny looking. The first time I saw them, I thought they were some kind of dried caterpillars or something. Some of them are bigger than others, but I'm just going to drop a seed in there. And like I've said before, I haven't grown these before, so hopefully these do well. I'm just following the directions, and that's my calendula. And the final flower I will be planting are cosmos. And here are the seeds. Again, I just want to say that I have never grown these before. So I'm just putting one in each cell, or maybe two. That's okay. And I'm going to try it this way, but I'm also going to try the multi-sow method that I like to use for a variety of my plants. So in this other pot, I am going to sow a few of them. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle them all around. And once they germinate, I will be separating them into their own individual pots. I really like doing that method, but because I've never done that for these plants before, I don't know if they will work well that way. So I am doing both methods to try and see which one works best. And then in the future, if this method works, I would definitely prefer doing that to start out. So here are all the seedlings that we started today. As you can see, there are so many things that can be started in mid-March in preparation for your growing season. Whether you're growing vegetables, herbs, or flowers, now is a perfect time to get these going. And remember, it is not too late to get started. No matter where you are in your garden journey, every step forward is progress. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And be sure to share your favorite seed starting tip in the comments below. I'll see you next time.